الحمد لله الذي نبر قلوبنا بأنوار المحبة الألوية
سبحان الله.
وأكمل لنا ديننا بولاية المرتزبية وتم نعمته علينا بهداية الهيدرية ونصلي ونسلم على سيد من خلق المؤمن الحق بالحق حبيب إلهنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
صلى الله عليه وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الهداة المهديين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من يوم إدابتهم إلى يوم الدين. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك توها وتمتعه فيها تبيلا. صلوات محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Brothers and sisters in Iman, Salaam alaikum. Last night, the topic that we have been discussing, that Ahlul Bayt wanted us to discuss, reached to the point here last night that I said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran said that there was an amanat that was so heavy, that was so precious, that the skies, the heavens, and the earth and the mountains did not accept the responsibility to carry it. The word that was used in the ayah was carry. And this is something I sincerely request my brothers and sisters to pay attention to a lot in the Quran. That first of all, and I've said this over the years, alhamdulillah, I've been with you guys about a decade now. I have said this over and over and over again, there is no such thing as coincidence in Islam. Coincidence does not exist. Everything that has been written in the Quran, the way the words have been put, they are not as coincidence. Allah has chosen those words specifically. So we saw last night that this ayah said that they refused to carry this amanat. And we said that this amanat was the amanat of vilayat, but in particular the vilayat of Ali ibn Abi Talib. So we have to see that when the insan accepted it, the ayah went on to say that an insan is zaliman jahula. They are jahil and they are also in zalim. And we said zulm in these ayahs does not mean someone who is like Yazid, who's a zalim. It means someone who is in darkness. So zulamat comes from the word zulamat. So I want to just expand on this ayah a little bit tonight so that it becomes clearer as to why this carrying of this vilayat, why does it bring with it so much weight, so much responsibility, and what happens when you deviate from the vilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen? You go into darkness. Now what happens when you go into darkness? As you know, if you walk into a room that is dark, you will not be able to see anything around you and you will fall over and you'll trip over. And it's exactly the same in your life, that if you go into darkness, your heart goes into darkness, your mind will then follow, your soul will then follow, your spirit will then follow, and then you will end up being what Allah says in the Quran, min al-khasirin. The same thing that Hazrat Adam said to Allah when he asked for forgiveness. He said, we will be from the losers. We will be losers. We will have lost out. What does that mean that you say you lose out? Why would they lose out? Because many people on the face of it are very good Muslims. But because they're not under the vilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, they will end up losing out. I mean, if you look at the 30,000 that came to kill the grandson of Rasulullah, if you read about the quality of some of these people, we would give our daughters to them. Had we not known, say for instance, on the 8th of Muharram, if someone came to you and said there is someone from this 30,000, these are his qualities on papers, would you be happy to give your daughter to them? People said yes. For instance, the one who cut off the head of Imam Hussein was Hafiz al-Kull Quran. He had been on foot to Hajj over 20 times. Yet he kills the grandson of the Prophet of Islam. Why? Because they're in darkness. Because they have come out of the vilayat of Amir al-Mu'minin. So, just because someone is pious, because someone looks like that they're very good, but they will end up being minal khasirin. They will end up losing. Tonight, like I said, I'm going to make this very clear to you to see why we will end up losing. I also said to you that there is no way possible anybody on this earth can become a Shia unless they pledged the act and the bay'at to Amir al-Mu'minin in the previous life. Because again, last night we talked about how many personalities talk about Ahl al-Bayt, talk about Imam Hussein, but none of them ever become Shias themselves. Yet people become Muslims very easily. You have seen this. Many people become Muslims very easily. Becoming a Muslim is a very easy thing to do. You just say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu and you become a Muslim. But to become a Shia of Amir al-Mu'minin is not that easy. Because the pledge had been there.
Wow.
I mean, you will see, for instance, look at this year, for instance, and the previous years in Nigeria. What happens on the day of Ashura in Nigeria? A small group of Shias. Were they born Shias? No. They are all converts to Shia Islam. Maybe some of them, even if we asked them to say one hadith from Amir al-Mu'minin, they probably wouldn't know how to do it. Probably some of them don't even know how to pray namaz, maybe. But yet you see, they are prepared to come on the day of Ashura, they are prepared to accept the vilayat of Amir al-Mu'minin, and they are prepared to stand up in front of the army and get shot at. Now, if this pledge had not been placed onto them in the previous life and had accepted it, there is no way they would have done this.
Wow.
So you see, the vilayat of Ali is the most important thing there is on this entire world. Now, when I said to you last night there was going to be a twist, this is a twist. Every single creation that has been on this earth from the beginning of time till the end of the time is a Shia.
Wow.
Subhanallah.
Yeah. Because again, the ayah said last night that insan accepted. Allah says that the insan, the human being, accepted the vilayat. This amanat. So that means every single person, whether you're an atheist, whether you are any faith, or you don't have any faith, you are a Shia. By name, Shia. But which Shia? You will see that Imam Hussein, when he stood against these 30,000 people, what did he call them? He did not say, "Oh kuffar."
Subhanallah.
He said to them, "Ya Shi'at Abu Sufyan." So all 30,000 were Shias. But they were the Shia of Abu Sufyan. Who was Abu Sufyan? The enemy of Rasulullah. Imam al-Sadiq says, we only have 3 enemies in this world. The first one was Abu Sufyan. The second one was the sons of Abu Sufyan. And the third one is Sufyani, who will stand up against Imam al-Sadiq. Is this a coincidence that they're all called Sufyani, Abu Sufyan? No. So this is the only 3 enemies. Why is everyone a Shia? And why is it only 2 camps on this world? There's only 2 camps. So you're either under the vilayat of Amir al-Mu'minin, which is the vilayat of Allah, or you are under the vilayat of Abu Sufyan, or Taghut, that Allah says in Ayatul Kursi. That means you are under the vilayat of Shaitan. So there is only 2 camps. Everybody is a Shia. We have to decide which camp we're going to be in. And it's not easy. Believe me, don't think it's easy. Because I've said this many times, if we had been at Karbala, which side would we have been on? Let me tell you something. The 30,000 people that did bay'at, with who? Muslim ibn Aqil. We've all read this. When he came to Kufa, at Maghrib prayers, 30,000 people filled Masjid al-Kufa, and they all stood behind Muslim ibn Aqil, and they all did a group bay'at with Muslim ibn Aqil. Muslim ibn Aqil is the representative, is the naib of Imam al-Zaman. So by doing bay'at to Muslim, they were doing bay'at to the Imam al-Zaman. Yet when it came time for Isha prayers, when Muslim ibn Aqil finishes Isha prayers, he turned around, there was no one there. How easy? I mean, now, when people say this, it's not as if Muslim prayed Maghrib and then he prayed Isha afterwards. No, he prayed it like how we were meant to pray it, separately. He prayed Maghrib, then an hour and a half, 2 hours later, he came to do the Isha prayers. When he turned around, everyone had gone. Those 30,000 people at Kufa, what did they do? They wrote to their Imam. What did they say? In our terms, they said this to Imam Hussein. Al-Ajal, Al-Ajal, Ya Abu Abdullah. Come, we are waiting for you. Al-Ajal, hurry. What do we say to Imam al-Zaman? Al-Ajal, Ya Sahib al-Zaman. But will we end up standing in? This is not guaranteed for us. Because if at any point we come out from that act and that pledge that we made to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this will come up to us.
Subhanallah.
You will see this in the Quran. Musa, and again, Allah in the Quran, when He talks about someone who follows Musa, it is very clearly in the Quran said, Shi'ati. This is your Shia. Allah doesn't say this is your friend. He says this is your Shia. So Musa had Shias. When they were in Egypt, Pharaoh persecuted the Shias of Musa. And again, you will see that anybody who is a Shia of Allah always gets persecuted. So it came to such a state that Musa said we have to now flee the land of Egypt. To go where? To the promised land, to the Holy Land, the land of Israel. So the call came, Musa said, right now, time has come, let's go. So Musa, and they say there were approximately 400 people with him of the Shias. They are fleeing, Pharaoh and his troops are following them, giving chase. They get to the river of Nile. They get to the river. Suddenly they think, oh, how are we going to cross this river? There is no bridge. We're on our horses. How are we going to cross? The enemy is coming. They start to get weakened in their faith. So Allah had to show them a miracle. So the Nile split. The waves came up. The land was there. They all crossed over. As soon as Pharaoh and his horses got onto that piece of land, the water came and drowned them. Now, my brothers and sisters, do you know how long Musa spent to do hidayat of Pharaoh? Was it 1 week that he went there and he said to Pharaoh, believe in God? And 17 years Allah made Musa spend time to do the hidayat of Pharaoh. Who was Pharaoh? An open enemy of God. Not only was he the enemy of God, he said, Ana rabbukum wal a'la, I am the greatest God. Yet Allah is saying, Musa, to do the hidayat of this one person, you spent 17 years. This is the God. So when Pharaoh got into the river, the water came, he said, Musa, 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 I believe now. I believe in everything you said is true. Allah said, Quran, this is too late. When they crossed over, Jibreel came down and he said to Musa, Allah just said that had Pharaoh said, Ya Allah, I had believed in you, I would have saved him. Saved a man who has persecuted you. Read in the Quran what he did to them. He kept the women alive and he killed their sons and their husbands. And he persecuted them. That even the magicians, when they said, we believe in the God of Musa and Harun, he said, I will crucify all of you. So this is sort of man. Yet God was saying that if he had asked, I would have forgiven him. Which is why when Yazid said to Imam al-Sajjad at Darbar al-Shah, is there any way for me for forgiveness? Imam al-Sajjad said to him, yes. And Hazrat Zainab got upset with Imam Sajjad, said, you are saying Yazid can be? He said, he will not have that. Because they know this, they have not made that pledge. So these Shias of Musa are now with Musa. They have crossed safely into the land of Israel. When they get to the land of Israel, this ayah Allah says in the Quran was what we said to them. Ya Bani Israel, O children of Israel, Uzkur ni'mati allati an'amta alaykum. Remember the ni'mat, the bounty that I have given you. Which bounty? What is the bounty? Allah is using the word what? Ni'mat. When I say to you Allah chooses the words in particular, where else do we see the word ni'mat? Al-yawm akmaltu lakum dinakum wa atmamta alaykum ni'mati.
Wow.
So now Allah is saying to the Shias of Musa, you are now with the Wali of Allah. You are with the Khalif of Allah. You are with your Imam. You have now crossed into the land of Israel. Do not forget this ni'mat that I am giving you. Then it goes on to say this in the ayah. وَأُوفُوا بِأَهْدِي أُوفِي بِأَهْدِكُمْ وَإِيَّايَ فَارْحَبُونَ. See? Allah is saying to them, do not forget the covenants, the act that you made with me. If you don't forget that, then I will not forget you. Then what happens? Musa is called to go up to the mountains. For how many days? 40 days. Yeah. What does Musa do? He's going up a mountain. He's not going on a plane or on a jet up to the heavens. He's just on this earth, but he's up a mountain. Yet Allah says, Musa, before you go, you have not left a successor on this earth.
Wow.
So he makes Harun his successor. If Musa has just gone for 40 days and Allah says to him, do not forget the successor, how could Rasulullah die from this earth and not leave a successor? Musa goes up the mountain. Harun is left now as their Imam. A person by the name of Samiri. Now who was Samiri? Samiri was one of the ulama of Bani Israel. Now this is the important point here, and I want to pay this. I'm not going to expand on this because it can get quite dangerous. But out of the 400 Shias that were with Musa, 70 of them were the alims of Bani Israel. They were the most learned, they were the most, what do we want to say, scholars. So this is the quality of the Shias that were with Musa. Yet one of them, who was the most learned amongst all of them, was Samiri. What did he do in the absence of Musa? He asked these Jews, these Israelites, bring with you all of the gold and the jewelry that you have. Because the Jews being the Jews, even though they were fleeing persecution, they were leaving their homes in Egypt, they still took all their gold with them. They're not going to leave it behind, are they? So now Samiri, now look at this. Samiri says to them, bring all of this gold, all of this jewelry. They don't even ask him why. They give it to him blindly. Even though the Imam was there, Imam Harun was there. They didn't ask him, didn't approach him, but they believed this Samiri. Quran says he took all of their gold, all of their jewelry, and he put it into a fire. He melted all the gold. Out of this gold, he shaped a cow, a calf. We call it the cow, let's call it the cow. He shaped a golden cow. Now look, Quran then says this. I'm not saying this is all Quran. Ahsanul Qisas. Quran says this, that for Samiri to show these Shias that have seen now the miracle of Musa at the river, for him to show a miracle, he wanted to make this cow make a noise. Moo, or whatever. Now, how can you make this do that? Because in those days, they didn't have like, a battery-powered like sound thing made in China that you could stick inside this gold cow to make it make a noise and flashlights and stuff. You couldn't do that. Quran says he put his hand into the desert where Musa's footprints was. Asar al-Rasul. He picked up from the soil where Musa's footprint was. He picked it up, he threw it into the fire, the cow started to make a noise as if it was alive. If the footprint of Musa in the land of Israel can make a golden statue come alive to make a noise, what does the turbat of Hussein do? You are placing your forehead. Go and Google tonight the third eye. The spiritualist people, they believe in the third eye. They say there's a third eye here, there's a chakra here. That the whole point of spirituality means for you to open this chakra. We are told to place our forehead on the turbat that Allah says, Ja'ala shifa'a fi turbat al-Husayn. On this, so everything has a reason. We're not doing this just because we want to. So now look at this miracle that this alim has done. So they now all start to believe, oh my God, this is our God. This cow is our God. What does this happen here? Samiri has made a false God. He has done what we say, Tuqyan. This cow and this God becomes Taghut. So they are now under the vilayat of Taghut. Allah says in Ayatul Kursi, I took him out of the light and they are now in darkness. Be an alim, it doesn't matter. You are in darkness because you have made a fake God. When Musa came back and he saw this situation, he said to his brother Harun, what did they do? Why did you allow this to happen? He said they were going to kill me if I said anything, so I didn't say anything. I protested against them. I said what you are doing wrong, but they said, shh, otherwise we'll kill you. Now, we don't have this in the Quran, but the Jews and the Christians believe this. That Musa then made an ark of, you've all heard it, there was a famous Indiana Jones movie. The Ark of Covenants. Ahd. He made an Ark of Ahd. What did he place in this Ark? The Torah. مثل الذين حملوا التوراة ثم لم يحملوها. The Jews, as an atonement for what they had done, not all of them, because some of them were still believing in this God, some of them, as an atonement, it is written they carried this Ark of Covenant, the Ark of Ahd, for 40 years around the land of Israel. They walked for 40 years, and when they got back after 40 years, they realized they started at the starting point, that they started 40 years. They walked in a big circle because they were lost. Because when there is no Imam for guidance, they were lost.
Allah.
So Allah then says in Surah Jumu'ah, مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ حُمِّلُوا التَّوْرَاةَ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَحْمِلُوهَا. Why does Allah use the word carrying? Because they were carrying the Ahd. In the ayah last night, Allah says the amanat is for the insan to carry. You see that? There's no coincidence. These are all. ثُمَّ لَمْ يَحْمِلُوهَا. But they do not act on the Torah. What does that mean? That means they do not keep to their act of vilayat. مثل الحمار يحمل أسفارا بئس مثل القوم الذين كذبوا. Why is the word كذبوا? كذبوا means to lie. About what? Ayat Allah. But this is the Torah. Ayat of Allah is the Quran normally. كذبوا بآيات Allah. Then what Allah says? والله لا يهدي قوم ظالمين إن كان الإنسان ظلوما جهولا. Now why كذبوا بآيات الله? What does Imam Zaman say is the biggest ayat of Allah? Imam al-Zaman, in Dua Iftitah, he says the biggest ayat. What does it mean? Ayatullah al-Kubra. The biggest ayat of Allah is who? Ali ibn Abi Talib. Ali ibn Abi Talib, Imam al-Zaman says in Dua Iftitah that he is ayat kubra wal naba al-azim. Now, Allah saying in Surah Jum'ah, the people who kazzabu ba'ayatullah, who lied about. What did they lie about? A group of Shias, just as soon as Rasulullah had passed away, they were the Shias of Rasulullah, on paper. As soon as he passed away, they went into this place called Saqifa. Just like the Bani Israel and the Samiri, who made a false god, a false statue, a false gold statue of a cow, there they had a cow, but in Saqifa they had Abu Bakr. Israelites had a gold cow, they had a different type of cow. Gold plated. So you see? And what did they kazzabu about? What did they lie about? They said that Rasulullah said, after I die, Kitabullah wa sunnati. But he said, wa itrati, why are you lying? Kazzabu ba'ayatullah, wallahu la yahdi al-qawm al-zalimin. Why does Allah use the word yahd? It comes from the same group of words of ahd. La yahdi qawm al-zalimin. That means the zalimin, whoever denies Ali ibn Abi Talib, will never have an ahd with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
نعرہ حیدری نعرہ حیدری صلوات بر محمد و آل محمد.
So this false religion, this false Islam, that this was a fake, they just stamped a label of Islam on it. It's very easy to do. You see the Chinese are very good at it as well. They make a bag and they stick a fake label on it. It doesn't mean this is a genuine article. So they made a fake Islam. So what happened there? What was this fake Islam? It was Tuqyan. It was Taghut. So whoever then followed the Imams of Saqifa, from that day onwards, they are awliya Taghut. They are out of the nur of Allah, from the guidance of Allah. So my brothers and sisters, see that this could also happen to us. If we do not keep the ahd with Amir al-Mu'mineen, and I said a few nights ago, the ahd means that we are prepared to give everything in the way of Imam al-Zaman, in the way of Allah, from what Allah has given us, not from our own self. Again, Allah says, amanat, I have given you this, and I will take it back. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. This is all an amanat, nothing, we don't own anything. We don't have anything from ourselves, it's all from Allah. Yet we are too stingy to even spend that in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah, tomorrow night, when it's the last night, there's going to be a conclusion to all of it. Then you will see that all of it comes together from the eyes of Quran, and you will then know that we do that without any doubt whatsoever that this is the Sirat al-Mustaqim. There is no other Sirat al-Mustaqim. فَهُوَ حُبُّ وَوِلَايَةَ أَمِيرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ عَلِيَّ بْنِ أَبِي طَالِبٍ. That's it. That's it. No other way. One of the khuddams from the shrine of Imam Reza, Ali ibn Musa Reza, was saying that last year in Safar, we were sent on a tour of a place in Iran called Kerman. And one of the things that we did was we took the flag from the dome of Imam Reza's shrine to take it around to these different cities in town for people to do ziyarat and do mannat and things like this. He said one of the places that they had put in our itinerary for us to visit with this flag was a prison. So because it was the month of Safar and there was a zarka with them and a reciter with them, he goes, we went to this prison, and in this prison hall, all of the inmates came and they all sat down. We held the majlis for Imam Hussein, And people started to cry. When the majlis finished, we brought the flag of Imam Reza out. So everyone came and they paid the respect, because there was one guy, he was about 30, 32 years old. He came and he grabbed the flag and he wrapped it all around his face and he sat down and he started to cry. We said, leave him be. He's a prisoner, he's obviously got a lot of problems. Let him cry with this flag, we will not disturb him. Because he was crying for about half an hour, 40 minutes, then he stopped. The prison guards came and said, look, the majlis is finished, you have to all return to your cells now. So he came and he gave the flag back. I just stopped him for 1 second and I said, how old are you? He said, I'm 33 years old. And I said, what are you in prison for? He said, one night I was coming back home late from work. I was very tired, I wasn't paying attention. There was someone crossing the road. I hit him with my car and I killed him. He said, how many years have you been in prison for? He said, 13 years. He said, why so long? He said, well, I don't have the blood money to give, because in Iran, if you kill someone, there's two options. One is blood money, or the family of the person who has died to forgive. But this is from the Quran. So it says the family won't forgive, and we don't have the blood money to give. So I'm 13 years I've been in prison. So this Zakir, the Khadim of Haram Imam Reza, says, inshallah, Ali ibn Musa Reza will do something for you. And I will pray to you when I go back to Mashhad. I will make a special prayer for you. Now, this is the thing. He's the Khadim of Imam Reza. Yet his yaqeen is this, that when I go back to Mashhad, eventually I will pray for you there. He still hasn't understood who his Mawla is. As a very quick side point, they said that there was a bomb of people, that rain had not come for a very long time. They asked the people to go and do the prayers for the rain. Everyone started to go towards, they said to go to a wilderness and do the rain prayers there. Only one young girl took an umbrella with her. The others did not take an umbrella because they didn't believe that Allah will send the rain down, but this girl had yaqeen that to go with an umbrella. So this is the thing. So he says, inshallah, when I go back to Mashhad, I will do a special prayer for you. He said, okay. So he goes, the next day, the next program on the itinerary was to go to the house of the people who were the parents of the shaheeds. Whether they'd been lost in the Iran-Iraq war or the recent where they're going to protect the shrine of Hazrat Zainab in Syria and that they'd been killed. One of our programs was to go, there was a list of houses. We would take this flag, go inside, 5-10 minutes spend in each one, pay our respects and come out. So we went to a few houses. One of the houses we went into, there was an old man and mother and father. They had a picture of this boy on the wall. Because the Khadim says to him, is this your son? And they said, yes. They said, has he become a shaheed? He said, no. So what is his story? They said about 13 years ago, he was crossing the street, a car hit him, and he was killed. So the Khadim said, do you know the name of the person who hit your son? They said, yes, we never forget his name. When they said the name, he realized that this was the same prisoner. So he said, mother, I am the Khadim of Ali ibn Musa Reza. I am pleading to you for the sake of Ali ibn Musa Reza, please forgive this guy. She said, you do not have to ask me anything. I have already forgiven him. He said, 14 years, you have not forgiven him. Now you're saying you've forgiven him? She said, last night, when I went to sleep, Ali ibn Musa Reza came to my sleep and he said to me, you will get up in the morning, you will go to the police station, you will write a letter to them to say that you have forgiven this person that has killed your son. I said, why Ali ibn Musa Reza? He has not given us the blood money. I will never forget him for killing my only child. Ali ibn Musa Reza said, are you talking against the Imam? So he said, for the sake of Zainab, go and forgive him. So the Khadim said, let's go back to the prison. Let's go and give this prisoner this glad news, this glad tiding. So they said, we came into the prison. The guy was there. We said, have you heard the good news? He said, no, what good news? She said, the mother of the son that you have killed has forgiven you. You are now free to go. The man started to cry. As they were leaving to leave the prison, he said to him, I just want to ask you, what did you say to Imam Reza last night that he acted so quickly for you? Now he didn't want to say what he said to Imam Reza. He said this to the Khadim. He said, I said to Imam Reza, oh Imam Reza, your father Musa ibn Ja'far was in prison for most of his life. So you know what it's like for someone to be in prison. This Khadim said, no. Imam Reza had said to that woman something else. He didn't mention Musa ibn Ja'far. What else did you say? What else did you say to Imam Reza? He said, okay, I said to her about Musa ibn Ja'far, but then just to complete it, just to give it its mom, I said to Ali ibn Musa Reza, oh Imam Reza, not only your father was in prison, but your auntie Zainab was also in the prison in Sham. For the sake of Zainab, in that prison of Sham, then please get this forgiveness for me. Imam Reza hears the name of Zainab, they have to act like I said last night. She's Babul Habaij. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. When Allama Bahrul Ulum met Imam al-Zaman, he said to Imam al-Zaman that you have said in Ziyarat al-Nahiyat that you will cry day and night for Imam Hussein. If you run out of tears, you will cry blood for him. I want to ask you, Imam al-Zaman, which masa'ib of Hussein will make you cry blood? Allama Bahrul Ulum said to Imam al-Zaman, is it the death of Abbas that you will cry blood for? He said, no. If Abbas was alive, he too would cry blood for this situation. He said, is it the death of Akbar? He said, no. If Akbar was alive, he too would cry blood. Is it the death of Qasim? He said, no. If Qasim was alive, he too would have cried blood. Is it the death of Hussein himself? If Hussein was alive to see this as well, he too would have cried blood. So Imam Zaman, which of the Masa'ib is it that you will cry blood for? He said, oh Allah, may Bahr al-Ulum, it is the captivity of my auntie Zainab. This is why when they said to Imam Sajjad, which was the worst place for you? He said, Asham, Asham, Asham. What happened in Sham? They had tied these women and children with one rope. The children would walk slowly. These enemies would come with the whips. They would whip the adults to walk faster. They would start walking faster. The children would fall over. Because they were all tied with one rope, all of them would fall over. Then they placed them in the prison, in the Kharaba Isham. Imam Sajjad said this prison did not have any shade, any covering. During the day, the heat of the sun in Damascus would hit the face of these women and children. At night time, the cold weather of Damascus would cause their skin to dry and crack. Every time they were crying because they were all azadar, they would cry. The salty tears would go onto these wounds of these women and children. It would add to their grief and to their pain. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين فسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون يا رب الحسين بحق الحسين اشف صدر الحسين بظهور الحجة السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين السلام عليكم